Welcome to Talkin Giants, presented by SeatGeek. I'm your host, Bobby Skinner, here with my co-host, Justin Pennick. And Justin, the roster is set. The Giants only made one claim in the waiver wire. We thought there was going to be like 4 or 5. It ends up only being one. We're going to talk about the 53-man roster and everything in between. I mean, this is last episode before game week, Justin. Like, just saying that gets me a little juiced up.
No, I'm fired up, man. I'm ready to rock and roll, but ready to beat the Vikings. But before we get to game week, waiver claim period, definitely a little underwhelming. I think everybody that covered the team, all the beat reporters, they all thought that we were going to see a lot of new names come in. It definitely seemed like the Giants were setting themselves up in the secondary, on the defensive line, and then even at some point it maybe even looked at like wide receiver that they were setting themselves up for some sort of claim or some sort of move with some of the moves that they made. But no, only one guy is claimed from, or I guess 2, right?
Well, one guy was signed, another guy claimed.
Right. So a little bit of an underwhelming period. None of the positions that we wanted, like defensive line or cornerback. But still excited for the season. And at the end of the day, even though it's not a 2022 waiver claim period where we found like 4 guys and two of them are still here, basically, you can't have that every year, and that's that.
Yeah. So, like you said, every year. I was ready. I was mentally prepared to work all night watching different players. But the Giants did claim the safety Anthony Johnson Jr. from the Green Bay Packers. But like you said, it was like, all right, we're like cornerback, defensive tackle, maybe some O-line stuff. But they only claimed one. I thought a guy like Jacqueline Roy could be brought in. So we'll get into all of it, Justin. But before that, the episode was brought to you by some special people. And those people's names are, as I pull it up, we got Jewelry. It's not jewelry, it's jewelry or jewelry. This person's name is Supporter of Good Things, and all I know is that his name is Facts because he's a supporter of ours.
Facts.
I hope he is not supportive of anything problematic. And it's like, yep, you said it's true, Bobby. We got Dan Burke. Dan Burke is not a jerk. And then we got Patrick Mahoney Balistracci. He's a pizza person.
I'd say.
We got Jay King. We got John Spera. He's got a spare tire. And then Jay King, which, by the way, Justin, the biggest news of this week is Danny King has officially been released as Weatherman from the preview pods. He cleared waivers where he's still going to be running the Talkin Giants Twitter account during games, but it's the end of an era, and Talkin Giants 3.0 starts 1 week from today. I
know a lot of people were saying that they wanted to put in waiver claims for Danny King, though. So he was highly touted, but he cleared. And I'm sad. It will be. I'm excited for the new era. Don't get me wrong.
Last mailbag question next week. We'll go deep into it, but it did make me sad to tweet that out.
Yeah, I'm excited for where we're headed though. The preview pods this year are going to be a lot of fun. But I mean, Danny King literally started the show with you, and he was here before I was here. So it definitely will be a sad day for. It is a sad day for the show.
It's a very sad day. Justin, the Giants claim safety Anthony Johnson Jr. Oh, where did those people come from?
Oh, they came from patreon.com/talkinggiants. And there's even a couple people right now that are hanging out with us live while we record the shows, because that's one of the benefits that you get from being a Patreon member. Bobby Skinner will send you some stickers in the mail, plus there's some shirt raffles. Patreon.com/talkinggiants. You're not going to want to miss the game recaps that happen every Sunday after great wins or brutalizing losses. You're going to want to be there with us.
It's going to be so many great wins. Justin, the Giants claim safety Anthony Johnson Jr. from the Green Bay Packers. Justin, I actually mocked this guy to the Giants in our mock drafts last year in the 7th round pick. On the pick that was actually used on Javarius Owens. He ended up being picked one spot before Jordan Riley out of Iowa State, safety. Versatility is kind of the name of the game for Anthony Johnson Jr. We know that's a huge factor in a Shane Bowen safety. It's like, can you play box, nickel, deep, right? Like, you basically have to play it all to be a safety in a Shane Bowen defense. And that's what he's done. Now, Green Bay used him a little differently. He was basically only a deep safety. He started 5 games for them. Deep 70%, box 17%, and nickel 13%. To me, that's not the way you use Anthony Johnson Jr., and they basically just had him playing so soft, right? There was no plays made from that deep part of the field on him. His final year at Iowa State, he played deep only 13% of the time, and then in the box 46% and nickel 41%. That's where he belongs. Not because he's like some big, strong, can't cover type of safety. Just that's where you can see his instincts play. Right? He doesn't have the best athleticism, or he doesn't have the greatest like ability to like pick stuff up from deep. But what he does like to do is play aggressive with his instincts and hit. He's not the strongest guy in the world, but that's the way that he likes to play. And I would expect that's where he's playing, is between nickel and the box and a Shane Bone defense. And he played solely outside corner before that at Iowa State.
Yeah, it's actually funny because I saw a clip from the Senior Bowl where he's going up against Andre Ishivas from, or however you say his name, from the Cincinnati Bengals. Ishovas. From the Cincinnati Bengals at the Senior Bowl. I'm like, well, why is a safety going up against a wide receiver 1v1? It's because that's what he did in college, so that was cool. Yeah, what stands out the most when you watch him, the brief times that he did play, I think is that physicality. He's jarred the ball loose a couple times. He's forced a couple incompletions that way. So he hits hard. He's an aggressive player. It makes sense that if he isn't just going to be a deep safety, because you don't really get a chance to showcase that often unless you're perfectly timing up a ball and then you're making a play on the football or making a play on the receiver trying to go up and catch a football like on the sideline or something like that. So yeah, if he could be used all over the place, great. Like a little underwhelming that this was the only guy that was added in a spot, like we said, that we didn't necessarily think the Giants needed all the help in the world. But hey, if this is the guy that the pro personnel department circled, I trust the pro personnel department, so I'm all for it.
It'll be interesting because he kind of reminds me of Belton a little bit, right? I know people wanted to compare him to Pinnock, but Pinnock's just a different type of athlete. You really don't see a second-year player switching position get to the waivers the way a guy like Jason Pinnock did. Where, now, like, he is physical, right? Like, I posted a couple clips of him dislodging the football with some big hits, right? So you see that good instincts in that short area of the field. Now, the playing of the run part is where he's not the strongest guy in the world, right? Like, if he's not getting full speed, like, putting a hit on a guy, he is getting moved by blockers, right? So he's not great in that area. I don't know how much man coverage you'll have him play. He loses leverage pretty easy, but I see him playing just kind of that shallow area of the field zone coverages, and he can play deep. I mean, that's what the Packers had him do. He didn't do it much at Iowa State at all, but he can, a Shane Bone defense is going to be a lot different than a Joe Barry defense when you're playing deep, where it's just like you're just playing soft nonstop. I will read my my write up on him out of Iowa State, because I thought it was not to pat myself on the back, but I thought it was very similar to what I saw with the Packers. Versatile safety who plays with instinctive and aggressive demeanor, solid athlete with more burst and agility than long speed, needs to add bulk with control to take on blocks, plays recklessly and can get knocked around, good zone instinct reading QB and adjusting accordingly. Played in mostly off-man coverage and man-covered spots. Got his hips turned too easily, but recovers fairly well. Good downhill trigger with good run fits. Takes on blocks aggressively, allowing him to make plays. Misses some tackles in the open field. And he did miss a lot of tackles with Green Bay last year, especially from deep. So that's obviously an issue. I had him as a 6th-rounder, Justin, pre-draft, and obviously took him 7th round of the mock draft. So now, I do think he's just the fourth safety on this team with specials, and, he's replacing Javarius Owens, who, we'll see where Owens ends up, but I do like Owens better than Anthony Johnson, but I think Anthony Johnson Jr. plays a little more safe, where Owens is a risk taker at that safety spot.
Yeah, I think we both like Owens a little bit more, because, hey, draft pick, homegrown guy, plays fast, plays aggressive, is stronger. So I think, did Owens clear waivers yet? And is he back on the practice squad?
He's cleared waivers. The Giants they filled up their practice squad, but as of this recording, there's been no news if but it would make sense if they bring him back to the practice squad, because he made their he made their initial roster.
Yeah. And also, I don't think he's played. He hasn't been bad.
Well, Owens has never. That's the thing, right? Because everyone tags me in the Javarius Owens stuff, because I do really like Javarius Owens. But it's hard to get all hot and bothered when he's never played a defensive snap in the NFL, and he got hurt in camp. Javarius Owens did. I suppose he's coming back from the injury, but I would expect him back on the practice squad anyways, because again, he made the 53-man roster. Why wouldn't they prioritize having him on the practice squad? If he wants that, though, both teams have to agree to, or both sides have to agree to that.
That's it for me.
Yeah, and so that was the only claim. Now they signed one other player, Curtis Bolton, while they had to place Deontay Johnson on IR. Hopefully Deontay Johnson comes back quick, because I think he's actually pretty valuable on this roster. He's essentially their first backup linebacker. Bolton he's been in the NFL for 3 years with only 16 defensive snaps and 491 on special teams. He's only a special teamer, but they did put him on the active roster. Justin, I guess we can go straight into the 53-man roster.
Yeah.
25, very even. 25 offense, 25 defense, and then 3 specials. I think just trying to go through some of the interesting parts of it. Tommy DeVito stays on as QB3, so 3 quarterbacks on the active roster. Jakob Johnson is on the active roster now that Austin Schlottman has been put on IR. Isaiah Hodgins and Allen Robinson didn't make it, but Bryce Ford Wheaton did. Gunnar Olszewski's on it, which I think is very important. Jake Kubis, the UDFA out of North Dakota State, made it. Edge. Timon Fox was the odd man out. Boogie Basham and Benton Whitley make it. And then, there's really nothing else like surprising or anything of note out of that. We could start about the 3 QBs, because you know me, I really don't like 3 QBs, right? And even now, you said keep Tommy DeVito or Javarius Owens. I'd keep Javarius Owens, but it makes sense for this team to keep 3 quarterbacks. You know, like Drew Lock is currently injured. Daniel Jones is coming off of a neck injury and a torn ACL. I mean, and twice in 2 years where both QBs have gotten hurt. That Chicago game in 2022, they ended up winning it, but imagine if they were down by 3 and that happens. You just lost the game because you probably still lose it anyways, but and then Jones and Taylor both missing time in 2023. So it makes sense for them, even though I'm not sure DeVito would have been claimed on waivers.
Quarterbacks got hurt a lot. I mean, Joe Shane even referenced in his presser too about how often quarterbacks got hurt last year. You saw how often backups, third stringers, and then even guys after that appeared in games last year. So this Giants team has to keep 3 QBs. There's no analysis other than that. I mean, because of Daniel Jones's injury history, Drew, like you mentioned, Drew Lock is hurt right now. They have to keep 3 QBs. I may even change my stance in the future, by the way. Now that we do cover, we're doing more stuff with JM Football Today with Chris Rose. Go check it out. Now that we're doing more stuff, I'm not changing my stance of like, oh my God, every NFL team should prioritize backup quarterback and spend all this money in the quarterback room as much as possible. But I may be changing my stance to how many quarterbacks teams should carry and how you can manipulate the rules, because I know the rules are in a certain type of way about the emergency quarterback and shit like that. And I think you just need them in today's NFL. You need a quarterback, even if they're not good at throwing the ball and even if they're not going to be an advantage. You kind of just need as many QBs as possible on your roster. It's the way the NFL is now.
Yeah, and again, with the Giants specifically, too, in that. Just before we get into the other parts of the roster, I want to talk to you about something. I'm going to put it on. Not just for my city, but for my listeners. That's right. I got the Turtle Beach headphones on, if you haven't noticed, Justin. These, right? Are you a gamer? Today's episode is brought to you by Turtle Beach, the #1 brand in gaming headsets and accessories. By the way, Justin, I love turtles. I love the beach. Sometimes I even see turtles at the beach when they're nesting. You don't get to see that up north, do you?
Do you like talking crap to 12-year-olds when you're beating them on NCAA?
No, they beat me, but I do like talking crap.
Yeah.
Their new Gen 3 Stealth 600 sets picks up so much crystal clear sound. It's basically cheating, which if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. I heard a mosquito in the game the other day and started like swatting at my screen, which is kind of nuts. You'll hear every footstep, every reload, every enemy sneaking up on you like you're stomping through your living room and tap dancing shoes. That's pretty crazy because I actually had my enemy in my living room the other day, stomping like an asshole. So I got these headphones for them, right? So I like to play online NASCAR, right?
Yep.
They're not as good at trash talking, the rednecks on there, but they kind of have their lane for it. But I like that. So they're much better than the old headset I use. I used one and it was just like you could barely hear my friends or anything. And they're also comfortable. Like I get up, go get some water. I just leave them on. So get the ultimate immersive gaming experience with Turtle Beach today. For a limited time only, head to turtlebeach.com and use code GIANTS for 10% off your entire order. That's 10% off your order, not your urdle or your turtle, your order at turtlebeach.com with promo code GIANTS. You'll be glad you did. Have you ever seen a turtle nesting at the beach, Justin?
I have, in Cancun, Mexico.
I don't believe you. I saw one a couple months ago. I see them every year.
I don't believe you. All right, you want to keep going through the roster? Let's keep going through the roster before we.
My big things are that Jakob Johnson ends up on the active roster. Isaiah Hodgins,
love that.
What? Where do you want to go with this?
I mean, where my brain goes to is
because every guy that was like a cut that you disagreed with ends up on the practice squad.
I mean, my thing is that they just didn't add anyone besides the fourth safety. That's my thing, and I think that's where a lot of. I mean, I don't see a lot of fans online, and nor should I'm not mad. Like, don't Justice. Why are you so pissed at something so non-consequential? Odds are anybody that you do add this time of year is non-consequential, but just very curious that it seemed like the Giants, with the way that they kind of presented this roster in the initial 53, it's like, all right, well, we're putting our hands together, pro personnel staff. What do we got? And they didn't even put in a claim for really anybody besides the safety that they got.
No, just one claim.
They didn't miss out on anybody. Maybe it's the fact that they thought that guys didn't shake free from rosters that they wanted to. Maybe some trades didn't go through that maybe the Giants wanted to go through. Some day 3 draft picks for swaps for some players didn't happen. All I know is that in Joe Schoen's presser that he had with Brian Dable, it was the beat noted that how testy Joe Schoen was when talking about talking about the secondary, when talking about kind of overall expectations for the team and talking about some roster stuff. He got kind of testy with the media, and the beat noted it, and then the Giants put it out on YouTube for all of us to see, and it was kind of apparent that Joe Schoen, when he's usually pretty calm, cool, collective, kind of maybe a little frustrated with the fact that they also didn't get a chance to add as many guys as they wanted. That's me reading the tea leaves a little bit.
Yeah, it was the most testy he's ever been in a press. I mean, this is the reality of it, right? And it sucks to say this, 9 days before the season starts. The roster's lacking in major spots, right? Yeah. Like this cornerback group is a huge worry, right? And that's before you even worry, like, is Deonte Banks even a cornerback one, right? It's a huge, huge worry. Elijah Chapman's a great story. This defensive tackle group is bad outside of Dexter Lawrence.
Yeah.
Linebacker Isaiah Simmons is essentially the first backup, and Micah McFadden is dealing with injury, and he's been working at corner. Like, he hasn't even been working at linebacker at all, essentially, during training camp. I mean, it's crazy. Offensive line is like one of the positions you actually feel the most comfortable with, because at least you got Aaron Stinney as a backup, and swing tackle. If we have that issue there, but hopefully we're not in that situation. It's just the reality of this team right now, and like you said, you thought that they'd bring some more guys in because they found success doing that, right? Fabian Moreau, forget just the original 4. Tyree Phillips, like think about it. Jason Pinnock, Nick McLeod, Tyree Phillips, Fabian Moreau. Those are guys that have contributed to winning on this team.
Yeah. So certainly felt like there was more that Shane wanted to do, but the question is I just don't know what he wanted to do because they didn't put any claims in for anybody that they didn't get. That's the thing. Yeah,
they didn't. And they didn't not put in claims because they knew. Like, they just didn't put in any claims for any other teams.
And you remember Hard Knocks. Like, you remember Hard Knocks. Like, don't act like, oh, maybe Joe Shane's more confident in the secondary than you are.
No, he's not.
When Lassiter and Kool-Aid McKinstry were taken in the second round of the NFL draft, there was a silence that came over the Giants' war room. And he made the joke at the combine of, like, when trading for Brian Burns, Joe Shane was like, oh, maybe I could go out there and play corner. They know that the secondary is not very good, and they know that they're not confident in it as well. So I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see what happens. That's where we're at. You're muted.
I said, yeah, you didn't miss much. Yeah, that's just the reality of where this roster is right now. We've spent all offseason talking about it. Now it's time for this team. Joe Schoen was asked by Dan Duggan. It was a good question to set it up. Was, hey, John Mara said he expects significant improvement. What is that to you? I know you're not going to give me a win total, but what is that to you? And Shane's like, well, you talked to him. What do you? And I was like, and then Charlotte Carroll actually had a really good follow up. Like, well, what does that mean to you? And kind of just said nothing. It's like, we're here to win. Like, we don't do all this to not win.
Yeah, we don't do all this work to not win.
So they are feeling stressed. Now, something I really like that they did is Jakob Johnson, the fullback, ends up on the active roster. I really do think this makes a difference for this team. And obviously in the run game. Jakob Johnson has been with Carmen Brasilla for his entire career. All 5 years Jakob Johnson's been in the NFL. Carmen Brasilla has been working on the run game with him. Brasilla has coaching clinics out there about the importance of the fullback in the run game and as far as game planning and giving other teams different things to prepare for, things they may not be prepared for. And he's also mentioned Jakob Johnson in those coaching clinics about like he's their guy. And even in preseason, you saw how it helped, right? A tackle for a loss turned into a 3-yard gain. A 4th and 2 toss that gets converted because they have a fullback. And the fullback, whenever we tweet about the fullback, people think it's like some joke and gimmick, like, oh, you're just liking fullbacks, right? Like that was a thing 5-6 years ago as fullbacks are starting to die as a gimmick to like, oh, I really like fullbacks still. But the fullbacks being outdated has become outdated. The top 4 offenses last year in the NFL used a fullback.
Yep.
And they spent money on him. The one that didn't was the Cowboys, who was a rookie, and he made all pro. And that's Alec Ingold on the Dolphins, Kyle Juszczyk on the 49ers, and Patrick Ricard on the Ravens. Those are your top 4 offenses last year, and they all prioritize having a fullback. And is it the same as wide receiver 2? Absolutely not. But I do think it is, and it's something that Dable's never believed in, and I'm glad Carmen Brasilla has won that battle because Jakob obviously wasn't added until a couple weeks ago.
And I think he can help change the Giants running game on early downs, or even forget early down. Saquon
Barkley averaged less than 4 yards per carry last year. That shouldn't happen. That shouldn't happen. And I think having a fullback part of your run game is how you take away some of those negative runs, and it can help you spring those big runs.
Yes, third and short, goal line situations, 1st and 10. Like I think any time that you want to run the ball, having a fullback out there, you're not going to have it every running attempt, but anytime, no. especially if you want to run it into a stacked box, which usually isn't the best of choices. But football is a numbers game, and the more people that you have going up against some other people is a better decision, right? If you have more blockers going up against more defenders, that is a good decision. So.
Defenses have to match it personnel-wise. It sets you better for play action because then they have to put heavier personnel on the field, and if they don't, then you can just run it right at them.
Right.
Like it does make, and you say you don't put them every play, but let's go through Jakob Johnson's offensive snaps last year. 27, 8, 7, 25, 10, 17, 16, 5, 8, 15, 19, 15, 14. Like, that's more than most wide receiver 4s, right? We talk about Slayton versus Hyatt and stuff like that. That is a big impact on the team.
My guess when hearing that, it is like around 20%. That's my guess for total snap share, and it was 23% in 2023.
Yeah, that's a fourth of the game.
Yeah.
That's more than special teams, right? We keep special teams only players on the roster. And by the way, Jakob Johnson plays special teams too. So I'm very glad that he has ended up on the active roster. And it's not some fucking gimmick about like, oh, fullbacks are cool, man. They're big and they're tough. No, like I understand we're not in the Mike Allstott age, but it matters.
Let's move to wide receiver.
Yeah. So here's the thing: is Isaiah Hodgins is on the practice squad.
So good,
right?
Cool.
Because I think it's important. Like I wanted to keep him, and then they essentially are. The thing is like when you just say, "Hey, he's wide receiver 5, he doesn't contribute to special teams." You're like, okay, doesn't make the roster. But Hodgins is a limited but useful player, right? I mean, he's 25 years old. He's going to have a very cheap contract. And just last year he had 3 touchdowns for them, after leading them in 2022, and he was like second on the team after Saquon and Slayton, who both had 4. Like, he gives you value in the quick game in the red zone, and he's a great teammate. He has great hands. You can always rely on the catch the football, Justin. And he's one injury away from contributing to this team by being the best player. Like, if Malik Nabers or Darius Slayton gets injured, when we get down to the 25-yard line, I want Isaiah Hodgins in. That's in the red zone. Justin, is scoring in the red zone important? I think so. And then he's 2 injuries away from being a freaking starter on this team. And being a starter that you're not like panicked about having out there. So I'm very glad he's been able to keep it back on the practice squad instead of trying to make a run somewhere else, because he's not a starting wide receiver in the NFL in reality. But he is a piece of value.
Yeah, surprised that even Bryce Ford Wheaton made it too, because a lot of the people on the beat were predicting Miles Boykin for special teams reasons, and I'm like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you who's a good special teams who on the wide receiver depth chart is a good special teams player. Clearly Bryce Ford Wheaton is. Good for you, bud. Changes to number 88. And then Gunnar Olszewski.
Let's talk about number 1.
We do have to talk about number 1. I have a anti-boomer take on that, by the way.
A boomer or an anti-boomer?
Anti-boomer take. Like, the boomers need to relax. But
it's only it's less than 1% of people.
Michael K is screaming on the radio this afternoon. But anyway, with Gunnar,
radio takes. Whoa.
No, but with Gunnar, I hope you're healthy. That's the thing. Is that Gunnar apparently is still walking around a little gingerly, but he's practicing. I hope he's healthy week 1, because the Giants need human beings that can catch punts without fumbling them.
And he literally returned a punt return for a touchdown last year. Like, Gunnar Olszewski is very valuable to this team.
He is, I agree. I guess he's also the kick returner, too. Because who else is going to do that? Who else is on the roster? Like, in
maybe
the top
Tracy?
of your head? Yeah, Tracy, which, I mean, after him dying and then coming back to life, doing that, I feel skeptical, but hey, you were a day 3 draft pick and you're a backup running back. We may have to have you do it, bud. So somebody's got to do it. So,
rest in peace, Tyrone Tracy. Welcome back. I want to talk about number 1 for a second. Why don't you talk to us about something before we talk about number 1?
I would love to talk about something before we talk about number 1. Orgain, here we go. Snap your fingers, something appears on the screen. I don't know what it is, but you're seeing it right now. Cheat days aside, what I put in my body matters to me. And hey, guess what? Breaking news. I got to start taking care of my body a little better, and I want to feel it with the best stuff out there. Orgain recently just got some free samples out of it, thrown in my fridge. It's awesome. It's awesome. Start my day with it, and guess what? It keeps me energy to keep me going through these long days when Bobby and I were putting out PPPs, TPPs, football today, trivia videos, when we're doing everything. Orgain helps keep my energy going. It provides muscle support and recovery, and it helps manage hunger, which is huge during these long days and those late nights where you want to have a snack. Orgain keeps me calm. Don't go to the fridge. Don't pop some popcorn. Chill out, bro. Orgain is the leader in real protein powder nutrition that understands that being good for you doesn't have to taste bad. They sent us their brand new 30-gram complete protein shake, and it is awesome. The shake offers protein-packed real nutrition designed to satisfy your cravings without all the sugar. Bobby Skinner, Orgain 30-gram protein shakes are available at Costco and Orgain.com. If you want to get in on the delicious protein-packed nutrition today, head to Orgain.com/Giants20 and use code Giants20 for 20% off your order. Once again, that's Orgain.com/Giants20 for 20% off, and make sure you use promo code Giants20 so they know we sent you. Bobby Skinner, you'll be glad you did.
You'll be glad you did. Other notes, Jake Kubis made it. Or actually, no, we're talking about number 1.
Yeah, we're talking about number 1.
Is wearing jersey number 1. Ray Flaherty, our guy, Ray Flaherty, by the way.
First of all, had a Bleeding Blue Giants history podcast for 2 years, and maybe this is on me being a bad fan. Ray Flaherty's name never really came up. Sorry. First jersey number 2. The only argument that people have
that is crazy. He's the first jersey, like he created jersey retirements.
That is the only thing. Not the whole respect thing. Oh, how dare John Mara unretire a jersey. because Ray Flaherty's number 1 was the first jersey retirement ever in NFL history, that is the only argument I think people have as to why they maybe shouldn't have done this. That's the only one. But they have too many damn numbers retired.
So, I actually do see, and I'm glad they did this, but I do see it's like, well, for like, you retire numbers to retire them, not to unretire them. Especially for like an unproven player. Now, even though we think Malik Nabers is just going to ball. But like, think about like Joe, actually, never mind, I'm not going to bring that up. Sorry, I threw myself off there.
Yeah, you're right.
The Giants do have too many jersey numbers. They retired too many jersey numbers, right? Like they got they created it, I guess. I learned this week, and then they got trigger happy with it. And honestly, one of the guys they need to retire is not and Emlyn Tunnell with number 45, and he has an undesirable
number. Nobody uses. Nobody uses.
Number. So that should be ish. So in reality, I think it should be, Eli, Lawrence Taylor. Maybe even like Strahan, I kind of feel like, but they were so slow. They have, but also this is the freaking product of changing the damn jersey number rule, because you get all these dudes like, oh, I want to have a single digit number. I want to have a single digit number. My rule is the best rule there ever was. It is, if you are a first round pick, when you join the team, you can keep the same number, but it has to be the same number. You can't just pick whatever number that you want. And if you're not a first round pick, sorry about it. You have to go by the old jersey number rules.
They have no longer number 1. 3, 4, 7, 10, 11, 14 twice. 16, 32, 40, 42, 50, 56, 92, all retired. Now here's the thing.
Not 3. Deonte Banks is number 3.
And they don't. My bad. My B. Len Grant, tackle. You're out, Pop. Big Blue Interactive, you lie. Here's my thing. If you were a player that served in the military and like, hey, your number is retired for that reason, like I can't sit here and look at Tuffy Lehman's halfback and fullback from 1936 to 1943. I can't sit here and say, you know what, that guy's just old and he wasn't probably that good anyway, let's unretire his number, because I do respect the whole thing of like, if you served in the military, like you were playing professional football, you go and serve the military. Yes, like that's awesome. Number should be retired. We should remember you. But yeah, I'm all for unretiring number 1, because you want to know what too? If Malik Nabers wants it,
numbers retired.
If Malik Nabers wants this, and if this is something that will keep him happy for a little bit, I'm okay with it. Like let's do that. Like, okay, Malik Nabers, yes, we can do this. This is what you want? Great.
I would like to see him in 88.
Yeah.
But fair. Yeah, they have too many jerseys. They have 13 numbers retired. Now, I do like that the Yankees have a good amount of jerseys, but they've retired too many too. People calling for A-Rod's number to be retired are out of their mind.
But also, that's like, a smaller roster.
We don't win a World Series without him. Okay. That doesn't mean automatic jersey retirement.
You have 25 guys that are active at one time. There's 53 guys that are active at one time in football.
Yeah. And so, yeah. Other notes from the roster, like I said, Boogie Basham and Benton Whitley made the cut over Timon Fox. I like that. Whitley's got more of an NFL body than Timon Fox, and Fox is on the practice squad. Darnay Holmes reunited with Patrick Graham.
Love that.
Always love a reunion. What other notes do you have from?
Here's my thing.
From the 53. Again, it's a new thing, Justin, because this is our first year 3 since covering the team, and since 2006. So it's just like you're just not going to get. It's not going to be fireworks on 53-man roster week.
I felt like there was a lot of movement at linebacker between like, all right, we're putting Matthew Adams on IR. All right, Deontay Johnson made it, but then we're putting him on IR, and then we're signing they were signing Curtis Bolton. So here's my thing, Bobby. Remember how we restructured Andrew Thomas's contract or Dexter Lawrence's contract? Which one did we restructure?
Andrew Thomas's.
We restructured Andrew Thomas's contract. Oh, great. The Giants have $18 million in cap space. How much cap space do they have now?
With the top 51, I think it's like $4 or $5 million.
It's $2.8 million. And you want to know what's kind of weird? The Giants have $5.8 million occupied on IR right now. Why? Why is Matthew Adams and Isaiah McKenzie? I mean, I guess if you were to cut them, maybe their dead cap hits are higher. Matthew Adams and Isaiah McKenzie are taking up $2.2 million on injured reserve right now, with Timmy Horn, Jalen Mayfield, Elijah Riley, Yanni Kajus, Jonathan Sutherland, Chase Cota, and Dennis Houston all adding up to be $5.82 million in injured reserve money, and the season has not started yet. So little interesting. I'm not criticizing because I just don't know.
Well, then if you have to pay him an injury settlement if you cut them. Like the Giants just did that with Dennis Houston and Jalen Mayfield. They released him with injury settlements.
Yeah, so I don't know. But the $18 million that, this is cool, the Giants may do something. No, it was all just so they can get through the dumb 53-man cutdown day, just to come out of it with $2.8 million left. And odds are they will have to continue to restructure people to get through the season. Go Giants.
Brandon Ayuk, 4-year, $120 million deal with the 49ers.
Really? Are you lying to me?
Why would I lie about that?
I don't know. Dude, that's a bad question to ask me.
That's true. I would lie about a lot of things to mess with you. Let's see. What else? There's really nothing else. Linebacker 2, I wish Deontay Johnson was healthy because that matters a lot.
I think he'll be back, though.
The roster only has 8 Dave Gettleman guys left, and Daniel Jones, Andrew Thomas, Darius Slayton, Dexter Lawrence, and there's one more outside of the 3 special teams guys in Tracy Kreider, Graham Gano, and Carter Coughlin. Who's the other one? Trivia.
Wait, repeat that? I was looking at Brandon.
The Giants only have 8 Dave Gettleman guys left now. You have Andrew Thomas, Darius Slayton, Dexter Lawrence, Daniel Jones, Graham Gano, Casey Kreider, and Carter Coughlin. What is the one other... I know who it is now. Who is it? Dave Gettleman guy.
Dave Gettleman guy, huh? I don't think 5, it's any of the receivers.
4, 3.
Safeties.
2, 1.
Go ahead.
Aziz.
Oh, that's right. The most forgettable player on the roster.
Only, and hey, they're making some freaking money, these Gettleman guys, between Jones, Thomas, and Dex. So they're making some friggin' money. Justin, I know it's short, but that's kind of all we have.
Yeah. Excited for the season.
Yeah, I'm excited for the season too. Maybe we can just do.
What's Tuesday's episode?
Game week mailbag.
Okay. Love that.
Should we talk about the Weatherman thing? Just waste 5 minutes on that.
I don't want to give too much away.
Well, let's talk about everything that we can without giving it away. So, Danny, let's kind of tell the story of it too, though.
Oh, okay. I thought you wanted to save that though.
For the mailbag, I was thinking of doing it the mailbag, but we're gonna have great questions for the mailbag. So it's been over a month. So
all right, let's talk about it now.
So, for just a quick little Talkin' Giants history lesson, myself and Danny King started it, and it was called the Giants Nation podcast. Was not Talkin' Giants in 2019. We started in January 2019. Then we joined John Boy Media in March of 2019. So we basically got like 7 episodes done before we went to John Boy Media. And then the year went pretty well for a first year podcast. And then Danny was going to get ready to go to college. And so Danny stepped away and he was blogging for us while Justin became the co-host after doing his Bleeding Blue show. And then we also brought in Anthony Tomeno, who was doing some film stuff with us, former college football player. He passed away. And then so for preview pods, Danny, was still part of Talkin' Giants. He was the weatherman for the preview pods and, all the segments that go along with it. So that there had been 4 years of that, Justin. That was Talkin' Giants 2.0, lasted 4 years. But because Danny King has a full-time job with TMZ and it's on the West Coast, it is impossible to do the preview pods with him.
Yeah.
Because he's literally, 4 hours behind us. And working till 5 o'clock every day, so we just could not do it with him. So he's still part of the family. Like, we're still having him do the game day. Like any tweet you see during the game from the Talkin Giants account, 90% of them are from Danny King. So he'll still be doing that. We'll have him on the pod here and there, whenever we can. But he is no longer the weatherman. So we are going to have, like, the net 1 week from now, you will be hearing Talkin Giants 3.0 to start the season, and we have a new weatherman, as has been decided. And we're not going to give away who it is.
Does the 4th of July mailbag become a 5-man show now?
That's what I was thinking. Here's one thing we'll give away. It is not snacks. Saw some threats that people would just end. They're like, I'm not listening anymore.
Yeah, it's not snacks.
It's not snacks. So yeah, I was actually thinking, like, what do we do from the 4th of July? I mean, I think we could handle a 5-man show, right?
I think we can too.
Just different vibes. I can't give stuff away. Here's my worry. Here's my biggest worry.
Okay.
He's too nice.
I think we can
is he scumbaggy enough for Talkin Giants?
I think we can get something out of him.
All right, yeah, we need to figure out the bad part of this guy, because that's how you fit in with Talkin Giants.
I have an Aaron Wilson tweet.
Uh-oh, Javarius Owens.
No. Listen to this, though. A lot of names you won't know, but there's some names that stick out. Giants worked out Al Bates, Caden Davis, Alex Erickson, Eric Garrer, DJ James, Caillou Blue Kelly.
Oh, wow.
Jason Matier, Zach McPherson, and then Andrew Parker, a couple other names, blah, 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 blah. But I will say, Caillou Blue Kelly and DJ James. DJ James was cut from his team?
Yeah.
DJ James and Caillou Blue Kelly are like Senior Bowl guys.
That did well. And
Yes.
David Wallace played for the Patriots, and he dropped the football when we were there, and I yelled at him. I was like, come on, David!
If you know Demarion Williams, AJ Woods.
No, I don't know any of those guys outside of David Wallace, simply because I yelled at him. And then DJ James and Caillou Blue Kelly. And Al Blades, because he's a Miami guy. I don't think he's any good. It's Al Blades' son. But I think that happened in the morning.
Wait! If we sign DJ James, we need to find the interview we did with him at the Senior Bowl. Do you think it exists?
I don't know. We did those interviews essentially for nothing.
We didn't, but here's the thing. It would be worth it if we signed DJ James. We need to find it.
He was a good interview, too.
He was a great interview. One of my favorite ones that we did. Very smart. Very physical.
You guys would have loved to see it.
I know. We need to find it.
But I think that workout happened this morning, Justin.
But Aaron Wilson tweeted it out 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, because he's looking at the transaction wire every day. He looks at the transaction wire every day and spams it out.
Can you give me a little hope? Can you let me have a little hope?
No, I'm telling you, they worked out all these guys on Thursday morning.
It's Thursday evening. What if they want to sleep on their decision?
Ooh, guess who worked out Marcus McKeith and the Eagles? Imagine if they made him good.
Terrific.
Be insane.
There's one more thing I want to check.
Yeah, but those guys aren't coming because they already worked out. Maybe they get brought in the future, but they brought in Duke Shelley for the practice squad. He started games for the Vikings. I think we tore his ass up in that playoff game.
I will give my DJ James hopes until 10 a.m. tomorrow. If he's not a Giant by 10 a.m. tomorrow, then it will never happen.
So I don't even know if I did a full DJ James write-up.
Shame on you.
I can't look up DJ James on my thing because there's just so many.
There's a lot of Jameses.
DJs.
That's how that happens. That's the thing about names.
All right. So any final notes on the Weatherman thing?
No, no, really. Like I actually can't say anything more because if I say any more about who he is as a person, then I will. It may give it away.
So we've cut out 50% of the population because we keep saying he. We cut out snacks. So
we cut out Danny King.
It out. Yeah, and Danny King. It was not Danny. What if we did that? That would be great to be like Danny King's gone and then he's back.
Well, it's like an Isaiah Hodgins situation. It's like, okay,
hey, you know
gone.
what? If Danny King gets fired in the next week, he will be the Weatherman. Like this person who is it will be like, sorry, We're terminating your contract.
I mean, that's how Danny King got his first job with TMZ, is primarily being very good on Talkin' Giants. Forget his career.
That's not why. That's
forget
bullshit.
his hard work at college. Forget his hard work at college and his
I thought you were being
internship.
serious.
I'm partially serious. The producer of TMZ likes Talkin' Giants.
Yeah, but that's not why he got the internship. It was just a coincidence once he got there.
I don't know. I don't believe in coincidences. Okay. I believe in it's not what you know, it's who you know.
I disagree with that. If who you know can get you to some point. At some point, you got to know some shit. All right. Like, who did I know? All right, that's an episode. We will see you guys Tuesday. Enjoy your Labor Day weekend. For a mailbag, we'll put that tweet out here soon, so make sure to get your questions in. We'll see you then. Until then, let's go Big Blue.